All right, so hello everyone. My name is Adam Steinquist, and I am a luthier. Some of you may know what that word means, and some of you may not. I had a friend who thought it was my last name for about a year. So, what is a luthier? A luthier is someone who broadly builds or repairs musical stringed instruments. It's a long history, a trade with a long history, but I'll start where I come into the story. So I was a young man going through a quarter-life crisis, trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life, and finding it hard to come to a solution. So upon the encouragement of friends and of family, I chose something that would be a passion of mine. Music has always been a part of my life. I started playing piano when I was about 7, and from there I started learning how to play violin and drums and xylophone, and eventually guitar and bass guitar. And found a really strong connection with this. And so through this, I found that there was a school not too far from where I grew up that taught how to build and repair guitars and violins. And I jumped at the opportunity. Now, I learned a lot about instruments. It's a very fun process in learning the trade of lutherie. However, through this process, I learned a lot about myself and revelations on how I see the world. And the first revelation happened not long after I began school. We were dissecting the materials we would be using and the parts of a guitar. And I learned that a guitar was not a singular thing, but it was a series of components that made up the whole. A guitar is a soundboard, and it's braces, and it's a bridge, and it's a saddle, and it's a nut, and it's strings, and it's tuning machines, all made from different materials, made from bone and from wood and from metal. And all these things make the whole. And all of a sudden, I can make an instrument. I could build a guitar. I never thought that I could build a guitar. But now I've been given the ingredients and the recipe. So after school, I ended up in a shop here in Madison. And this is when a second revelation took place. When I was in school, they taught us how to fix this or how to fix that. But when you were in a shop, they didn't just bring this or that to you, but they brought everything else, and they asked if you could fix this. And it was my job to say yes. And so I worked on a myriad of instruments. I worked on guitars and violins and upright basses and banjos and cellos and sitars and balalaikas, the whole gamut. The less I knew about an instrument, the more I wanted to work on it. I wanted to peek inside of the instrument. I wanted to see how they worked. I wanted to learn more about it. And through this, I learned that everything is fixable. You're only limited by your creativity, by the amount of time you have to put into a project, the amount of energy you can bring. And it was amazing to see some of the things that were fixed, things that I would have thrown away. And so everything is fixable. And then unfortunately, like so many professions in the arts, finances became a factor, and I decided to find a job that was more lucrative. And I was disappointed. I knew I would still be involved with instruments and with music, but I was sad to see something that had been such a part of my life diminished. But then something amazing happened. Friends and acquaintances came to me and said, I have this instrument, can you fix this? And this is when a third revelation occurred to me. Now, when I was in the shop and something was brought to me that I didn't know how to repair, I could go to my boss and I would say, how do I fix this? And he would lay out the plan for me. He would help me figure out how to fix it. But now I didn't have that person. Now I had to figure out on my own how to fix it. And this was uncomfortable at first. But I realized that the trick was not necessarily having this specific experience and the knowledge, but of learning how to ask more specific and relevant questions. The question of how do you fix this is not a very specific question, and one that I could not answer without the experience. And so I had to break it down. I had to look at the component pieces again. We'll go back to the beginning of what I learned and see how does everything work together. What materials is the instrument made from? What varnish is on the instrument? How do all of the components interact? Where is it broken? And the beautiful part is that this then extended to the rest of my life. Anyone that's talked to me about car repair or about food or about sports injuries or about relationships knows that I ask maybe too many questions. I'm trying to figure out how things work and how they interrelate. And so if I can give you anything tonight from my experience, it would be indulge something that you're passionate about, because I feel that in finding a way to understand what you enjoy and what you're excited about, you can then make sense of the rest of the world around you. Thanks.